up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Ask Alex, where this is a show where I take all your questions and answer them here on this show. I'm your host, Alex Hampton, and today we have a very jam-packed show today. This is episode 41, so thank you guys for continuing to come back and watch my content. If this is your first time on this channel, thank you for watching this video. Go ahead and consider and hit that subscribe button and go ahead and hit that bell right next to it. That way you get all the notifications of every time I'm dropping an episode of Ask Alex or any other video on this channel as well. So thank you. I want to personally welcome you from coming on this channel. I know it's Friday. I haven't put out anything in this whole week. I have been sick, so I do apologize. I am feeling a little bit better, but a lot of crazy things have come out and that I really need to talk about. Been getting a lot of questions, especially a lot of tweets about certain things that I'm about to get into as well. So thank you guys for sticking with me, and let's go ahead and jump into the first question of the day, which comes from Andre Hall. And he writes, "Hey Alex, so it's been confirmed that Tom Welling is coming back for Crisis on Infinite Earths. This is such a major development. Even though this is a major development, do you think that that this crossover is getting overcrowded?" Well, thank you for your question, Andre. So what Andre is referring to, literally the last 24 hours, it was confirmed that that Tom Welling will be back for as Superman for the Crisis of Infinite Earth crossover. There were rumors that him and some other Smallville characters were coming back to the crossover or being iterated in this particular CW verse, but it was confirmed yesterday by multiple websites like Variety, Deadline, and I believe Tom Welling posted something on his Instagram page to confirm that he'll be back as Superman. And my initial thoughts are like, this is going to be literally DC's Endgame. This is going to be bonkers. Like, I cannot wait. Like, this crossover should be a movie. They literally should put this in theaters because the things that they're doing are literally unprecedented. Like, it reminds me of the time where I first got excited of the first Avengers movie. It actually reminds me as well when we all got done seeing Infinity War and we saw how everyone died, and we are so hyped for Endgame. We can't wait to see what happens next, right? That's what this hype reminds me of. And to introduce Tom Welling's iconic Superman character from the Smallville series is amazing. So I am super excited for this. Your question is asking me, do I think this is going to be overcrowded? Not necessarily, because I think that this is broken down into 4 episodes. So each individual episode is going to have its own telling of this particular crossover. This is the first time when we'll see an official 4-part episode. Last time we got a 4-part episode, it wasn't really 4 parts, it was 3 parts. This is a 4-part episode of what we're seeing of this particular crossover, and I cannot wait. If they happen to sell this crossover on DVD, I'm going to buy it, or on demand, or streaming. I am going to buy it because this is the most unprecedented thing that DC has done. I dare say that this is bigger than Justice League. This is big. Like, I would buy tickets to this than I would another Justice League movie. This thing is going to be bonkers. I cannot wait. And thank you for your question, Andre. Let's go ahead and jump into the next question, which comes from Greg Kirk. And he writes, "Hey Alex, is it true that Apple is buying Sony? If this is true, will the rights to Spider-Man go back to Marvel? There are reports saying that Marvel is waiting on Apple to buy Sony so they can get the rights back for free. What are your thoughts about this development?" Okay, thank you for your question, Greg. So I chose this question because I got a lot of these. I got some tweets about these too. Is this a real thing? Guys, I want to tell you something. First of all, and I'm not going to call the person who's asking me these questions or the people who've asked me these questions idiots. I think the people who are reporting on this particular story are idiots. This story is coming from websites like We Got This Covered, and Cosmic Movie News. These are websites that, don't get me wrong, have probably good editorial stuff, but these websites are not accredited. Variety, Deadline, Slash Film, Cineblend, even comicbook.com are not reporting on this at all. Variety reported on Apple buying Sony potentially about 9 months ago. But it wasn't necessarily a thing where they were locking down a deal. It was a potential thing. These types of stories get me frustrated because, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying We Got This Covered and Cosmic Movie News are terrible websites. But they're notoriously wrong when they're reporting stories about movie news. We Got This Covered and all these other websites have run many stories saying that, stuff was going to be canceled. Not canceled. They've said many things about Titans being canceled. Titans has a season 2. We Got This Covered, Cosmic Movie News, and all these other foo-foo websites are not accredited websites. But let's go ahead and address the question. Is Apple buying Sony? The answer to that question is no. They're not buying Sony. At least not in the foreseeable future. Excuse me, they're not buying Sony. If they were to buy Sony, would the rights to Spider-Man revert back to Marvel? Let me put it to you guys like this. If that were the case, if that were truly the case, Disney would have never bought Fox. Because Comcast was about to buy Fox. If Comcast had bought Fox, right, quote unquote, the rights would go back to Marvel, right? That's actually not true. If Comcast were to buy Fox, the rights to your X-Men would stay at Comcast. They would have control of the X-Men universe, and they would still have to operate in the confines of whatever that deal is under Marvel that they had. But they would still ordain and do whatever they needed to do with that X-Men universe. Now, if they breach that contract, obviously, those rights go back to Disney. It doesn't matter if a larger company buys a movie company and they have certain rights that belong to another studio that they have licensed. That does not matter. If Comcast would have bought Fox, the X-Men would have been at Comcast. Just like if Apple were to buy Sony, Spider-Man would still be at Sony under Apple's leadership. So the fact that people are reporting that, if Apple buys Sony, the Spider-Man rights are going back to Disney. That's not true. That's all. The only way that would happen if Apple decided to not make any more Spider-Man movies, which then their rights would go back, or if Apple did something to violate their agreement with Spider-Man, then the rights would go back. But just because a larger company buys a movie studio that has rights to another studio license, that doesn't mean that that license immediately goes back. If that were the case, if that were truly the case, Disney would have never bought Fox. And I'm not saying that Disney bought Fox specifically for the X-Men rights. They bought Fox for a lot of their other acquisitions, not just the X-Men and all the different properties. They bought Fox because they had a lot more great properties aside from their Marvel properties. So, again, I don't believe Disney would have fought so hard to buy Fox like they did if they knew that Fox was going to be bought by Comcast, knowing that the rights would go back to Disney if Comcast bought Fox. That's not how that works. That's not how rights and licensing goes. If Momentum Media, like for instance, if I'm bought out by Collider Studios, right? Collider owns Momentum Media, but the licensing deals that I have with Apple are still under Collider and Momentum Media. They don't go back to Apple. You see what I'm saying? So food for thought. Don't read a story that's not accredited. If it's not coming from Variety, Deadline, or even comicbook.com, or even Cineblend, it's not accredited. We got this covered in comicsmovie.com. I'm not crapping on them, but they're notoriously wrong at getting stories. So that's my take on that. Let's go ahead and jump into the next question, which comes from a Paul Jordan. And he writes, "Hey Alex, what do you think about the Bad Boys 3 trailer? It's been out for a while and I haven't heard you comment on it." Well, thank you for your question, Paul. Actually, I got a lot of questions about it when it came out. And initially when I posted about it, I said it, I believe, on my Facebook and Instagram, that I loved the trailer. I didn't talk about it on any of my shows, but I genuinely did love the trailer. The trailer has that old school Bad Boys feel to it from the first and second movie. You immediately sense the chemistry between Will and Martin Lawrence. So it's there. Here's the one thing I will say that kind of made me think about this movie. I watched the trailer about 10 or 15 times. I genuinely love the trailer and how it's put together. But I have to say, Martin Lawrence, he looks like he hasn't taken care of himself in a while. Like, he looks kind of like, I mean, I don't know if it's just old age, but it looks like he's been through a lot. And it doesn't look like he's taking care of himself. Will Smith looks amazing, as usual. But Martin Lawrence looks like, yo, like, this is not the same Martin that I've watched on TV or in movies. You know, so, but, and you can tell, like, some of his acting ability in the trailer, from what we got from the trailer, it's kind of rusty. It's believable to an extent, but it's like, it looks more like he's just talking his way through it than he's actually becoming that character that we know. Like, you know, that Martin from Bad Boys 1 was like, yo, I don't really give a F. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like, he's kind of just like, kind of mellowed out. And I don't know if that's just part of the plot or if that's just something that he's just not really used to getting back into. So, thank you for your question, Paul. Let's go ahead and jump into the final question of the day, which comes from a Tim Love. And he writes, "Hey Alex, so I've been watching your show for a while, and I was wondering, how come you never talk about actors' lives or breaking news about actors or artists getting caught into scandals? I mean, this is a news show, right?" Thank you for your question, Tim. So I chose this question for a specific reason. And maybe I'm not quite clear of what this particular show is about amongst the other shows that I have on this channel. Let me make one thing clear. This show, Ask Alex, is about movie news and pop culture. I talk about stuff that happens, about, castings, new developments, new movies, new products, all different types of things that have to do with movies, superheroes, pop culture, things that we love on this show. I will not, and I will never talk about gossip or people's lives. That's not what we do here at Momentum Media. And it's a simple reason. I truly don't care. I really don't. Like, I can care less who's dating who. I can care less who went to jail or who didn't go to jail. I can care less, who put out a diss record. This is not what this show is about. I'm not here to report on, scandals. There are a lot of scandals that happen in Hollywood. A lot of scandals that a lot of people that I have connected with have told me about personally. Truthfully, I really don't care. I don't care. Now, I've talked about, actors saying certain things in their comments. But personally, I'm going to address their comments in relation of movie news. But I'm not going to address their personal lives. I'm not going to address, who they are as people. I'm not. Because at the end of the day, I don't care what they do in their personal lives. And Momentum Media is about building bridges. At some point, I'm going to be interviewing a lot of these people. I'm going to be meeting up with a lot of these people. So I'm not going to like jeopardize my brand by doing the easy thing and talking about gossip. And like, this is not Baller Alert. This is not World Star Hip Hop. This ain't any of that. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I will never talk about those types of things because that is not the type of person that I am. I do not do gossip, especially about people that I don't know. And I will no longer address any of that on this show or any other show that's under my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is definitely not for that. So thank you for your question, Tim. Well, that's my show today, guys. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Ask Alex. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this video where you get all the notifications of what we're doing here on Momentum Media. A lot of great things are coming out. A lot of great interviews are coming out as well, so stay tuned for that as well. Please support us on Patreon. Every dollar that you donate excuse me, on Patreon will help support us here on Momentum Media. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video, and as always, you have a blessed day.